Hi guys, I'm joined by Jim and Scott from Volition, and we're talking about Saints Row 4. So the third string Saints are back. What are they up to this time, guys?
Well, this time we've got things that are a little bit new. For starters, the leader of the Saints is now the President of the United States of America. He's kind of made his logical progression from being the leader of the Saints. We like to talk about it as, you went from the crack house to the penthouse to the White House. And that's one of the more tame things that the Saints are up to by being President of the United States, because there's an evil alien group known as the Zen who have invaded the Earth. And ultimately, they abduct the president, the leader of the Saints, along with a bunch of his lieutenants that are part of his cabinet. And their goal, the Zen, they're going through the galaxy and they're conquering planet after planet. And then what they do is they try to indoctrinate the people into their society and break their will and make them kind of join the Zen. And so what happens is you'll find yourself in this very twisted version of Steelport. And in this version, though, a player tries to rebel against this and try to work against the Zen and resist them, and they're able to kind of bend the rules of the world in a way in order to give them superpowers, and that's how they're able to try to get the raw power necessary to defeat the enemy.
Cool. So are there no gang members this time around?
That's exactly correct. Yeah, this time no gang members around. We've got it's alien Zen are the primary enemy this time. And it's a little bit different than what we've done in previous Saints Row games. Usually in Saints Row 1, 2, and 3, actually, they all had 3 different gangs that you went against, whereas in this one, it's just the Zen. But the variety that we have with these enemies now is pretty significant. And there's a lot of different silhouettes, shape language, the aesthetics are very different. But also, but most importantly, is their abilities and the AI. So they give a wide range of abilities. So point being that, like, you can have their base grunt unit, and you can go in and feel like a total badass, going and killing all of them with ease with your superpowers, all the way up to some of the really exotic ones. Like we showed today, the Warden, which is kind of their version of a superhero, where it can jump incredible heights and use telekinesis to throw objects around. And the goal of us was to try to come up with an enemy that would be sufficiently powerful against someone with all these superpowers. So, in other words, if we were to use just the kind of the standard gang members we've used in previous Saints Row games, it really wouldn't present much of a challenge to the player once he's superpowered. So this is a fun way for us to do something with a twist and something that's a little bit over the top, but also something that's really fun to play against.
Cool. So this game has a kind of interesting development history. You kind of started with a April Fool's joke about entering the dominatrix and stuff like that, and then you announce and then you cancel it. So making this a full-fledged sequel, what has that kind of allowed you to do instead of doing a DLC expansion pack?
Yeah, that's a good one. Really, one of the biggest things is that there were a number of features that we were working on in the expansion pack, and we were really excited about them. We knew that there was a lot there to them, but the biggest issue was that within the period of time that we had doing an expansion pack, there was no way to really take them to the next level, to give them the polish that we really wanted to do with them. And so when we were able to take those things and take it over into the full version in Saints Row 4, it gave the team a chance to really be able to dive in and do all that extra work and really polish it up. And so I think ultimately the game has ended up much better from having done that. But then to help out, the Enter the Dominatrix pack that we were doing, this expansion pack, we actually there's still a lot of cool ideas there, and there is so even for our game, there's some really over-the-top ideas. Mm-hmm. And what we're doing is we're going to be, for a future DLC pack after Saints Row 4 comes out, we want to do a director's cut of Enter the Dominatrix, essentially. So we can take some of the pieces that we didn't bring over to the full game and put that together so people can see what we had in mind with that, because we had some pretty exotic ideas in there, and we think people are going to enjoy seeing it. And it's a fun way to be able to let people see what was up with Enter the Dominatrix, so people try it out.
So you mentioned superpowers. So can you talk a little about what kind of powers you can have in the game?
Sure. So your superpowers are basically you have movement powers, so you can sprint faster than cars, you can jump higher than most buildings. In addition to just being able to move around the environment quickly, you can glide. There's offensive powers, which are essentially sort of like modified combat powers. So they're like weapons you always have on you that recharge constantly. So the couple that we showed today were the Freeze Blast, which freezes enemies in an area, freezes enemies' vehicles, and allows you to shatter them or move them around very easily. So it's a good way to sort of stop combat when things are getting crazy. And Telekinesis was the other major one, which allows you to pick up everything from small objects on the ground like trash cans, from people, and up until cars and even helicopters and tanks later on in the game. So you can use that to sort of toss things around the world, and they're really good to create sort of car bombs. You can grab a car and throw it into a group of enemies and blow them all up. It creates a lot of good mix and match between all the crazy weapons and then all the crazy superpowers, of which we have, you know, a whole bunch. That there's a base set, but then there's also a huge set of optional ones you can go around the world and get that'll be more effective and more powerful than the base ones you get. And you can also upgrade all of them. So there's a lot of functionality there to mix and match with combat, and it makes things a lot more interesting than we had in the past, and allows us to bring the sort of craziness that we had with our notoriety in the past, our combat, to even higher levels, and the player can now take advantage of all these new superpowers to sort of combat all these brand new alien enemies.
So in Saints Row the Third, you had this kind of differing paths in the story, and you can get different endings. Are you kind of continuing one of those endings?
In a way, I mean, we're definitely. I mean, we kind of chose the ending where Shaundi doesn't die because she was a character we really liked. But in a way, we're also kind of merging the two. So I would say it's more likely that we chose the ending where Killbane escaped and where you saved your friends. But then from there, you know, within the context of this game, there's also multiple endings to this game that kind of really bring a nice finality to this sort of series of games, and really ends in a really nice place where it's kind of, you feel like you've come to the climax, the penultimate place you can be within the Saints Row universe. It might be something akin to that. That would be a good thought.
So the previous game kind of divided the fan base into two. Like, some people thought it was too crazy. Some people thought it was not enough crazy. How did you decide, like, to take this further step into the, like, balls to the wall craziness?
For us, it felt like a logical next step. I mean, we felt with Saints Row the Third, we spent a lot of time coming up with the tone, like what is this game going to feel like? And I think in a lot of ways that set up that tone of kind of two key phrases of embrace the crazy and fun trumps all. Those have, in a way, have become sort of franchise directives for at least this series of Saints Row games, where it's ridiculous, over-the-top fun. We wanted to push the bar even further from Saints Row the Third. So I think a lot of what we heard today from the press was kind of, you guys had a lot to live up to with Saints Row the Third in terms of craziness. You blew us away. This was not what we were expecting, and I think that's been very nice for us to see that, you know, we surpassed everybody's expectations for the insanity that we could bring. And I think once people actually get their hands on the game, they'll see that we ended up with a really good story that sort of brings all this together, and everything within its own crazy way makes a lot of sense for us.
So speaking of crazy, can you talk a little about some new weapons and vehicles, perhaps?
Vehicles, we've done a few more. The aliens bring in some new ones, like they've got a UFO, they've got a really cool interceptor sort of jet bike kind of thing. They've also got hovercraft and a new tank. The weapons are, I think, where we've gone the craziest in terms of just letting the player have fun. Our focus was just, you know, what's going to be a cool weapon, whether it thematically fits in the game or not. We'll find a way to make it work. So the two that we showed today were the Inflato Ray, which sort of acts like an air pump, pumping someone up until they explode finally, and it's a really fun. It got great sound effects, great VFX, visual effects that make it really exciting and fun to play with. And then there's one that I think is sort of indicative of where Saints Row is and sort of our humor, which is the dubstep gun, which, you know, essentially is a party in a box, is the way we kind of describe it. So as soon as you start shooting it, music brings up the levels and everyone starts dancing. Cars start jumping like they've got huge hydraulics. Car windows are shattering. And then when you actually shoot people, they do this sort of dubstep video, reverse, forward, backward, rewind switch that just looks fantastic. So the whole world feels like it's reacting to you using this gun. And we've got a bunch of new weapons that we haven't talked about yet beyond the dubstep gun.
Cool, thanks guys. So Saints Row 4, when is it being released and on what platforms?
It is being released on August 20th, and it's going to be on PS3, Xbox 360, and PC.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's Saints Row 4. Check it out, guys.